Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I just seen.
There it goes. Yeah. I guess because I don't do it in the app and then it makes me use the app and then I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Hello, everyone. We are live. Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Hello, everyone. We appreciate you all coming. Um, Ace of Diamonds week. So based upon self mastery, I think we kind of spoke about that. Gina did before we left off last week. Um, and last week was the King of Clubs week, right? Yeah.
Yep. We're in
Uh,
the diamonds energy and I definitely have felt that this week.
yeah. Okay. I have two myself actually. Um, Kind of beforehand, to be honest. I think it's just my birthday and the first Mercury period on my birthday has been a real mental heavy, kind of thinking about the last year and so forth and what's going forward. Did I get a reading? I did say I got a reading, didn't I? Just, kind of timely going into your birthday to kind of see what's going into the new year, which actually a lot of my readings are actually for people right before their birthday, within like their Neptune or Uranus period, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is when people contact me right before their birthday. Um, so yeah, it's kind of been for me just trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want to kind of pivot and maybe make some changes, kind of undecided in some things, which is, I guess, the Ace of Diamonds energy also, I guess, as well, right? Because it's change, things are kind of taking place, going into a new direction, possibly. It could possibly make some pivots. It has two threes, could have some indecision. Let me share my screen so I'm just not speaking gibberish.
What's your 52-day card? What's your Mercury card right now?
What is it? I'm getting old, man. Getting old in these streets. um, you know what? I haven't even. I didn't get an actually cardology reading. I just like to look at something else. But Five of Spades
Oh.
and
Isn't
Mercury.
that your Jupiter card for life too?
Um, yes, it is.
Okay.
It must definitely is as the third one.
This is your spread, you're 34.
Yes, to put my age out in the streets. That's what
I
we're
mean,
doing.
Rashad, it's
I'm
age
just playing.
spread 34.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Oh, Lordy.
They may not know. They may not know.
They're gonna
You
know
know.
now. They're gonna know now. Ooh, Rashad, you got the Queen of Hearts, the Eight of Hearts. You're gonna be attracting some ladies.
You think so? I told you. I told you all about my love life the last time. I,
Hmm.
she was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have like two people. First of all, two people just too much. I'm just not." Yeah, I was talking to my friend, and he's not able to have access, and like he has these dreams and wants for multiple women. I'm like, yo, slow down. Like, I'm just nah. But maybe, possibly, I may. We'll see.
Well, I think with that Queen of Hearts being what your Mars card and that Jupiter card being the Eight of Hearts, I absolutely think you can definitely attract a lot of that energy. The first, you know, couple months of your year might be a little chaotic with that Five of Spades and that Nine of Clubs, but just, be able to go with the flow, making some moves, making some changes, being able to let things go. That's gonna be key. What's your Pluto? Two of diamonds. Well, that's my Pluto card for life. Don't give your power away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't give your power. And you have the same result card as me. What? You have
What
the
the
two
Jack
of
of Spades?
diamonds. Yeah, you have the two of diamonds and Pluto and the Jack of Spades as your reward card. So you're going through relationships, huh, are going to be an initiation for you this year.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a playback. I don't know. You on
I was
D?
recording.
Oh no, you're fine. You just turn the volume down. You can still record. Just turn the volume down. So so it won't play back. Yeah.
No, you're good. I just did it. I was going to try to post it. That's why.
No, you good. You just have to turn the volume down. That's what I do too. If I'm
Okay.
like live on IG, I just have to turn the volume down. That way, it doesn't have a playback in the background,
Okay.
but it doesn't affect your voice or the way that you sound to them. Just a
Okay.
playback. So, um, yeah. So relationships, trusting. I actually have trust issues. I don't know. So how is that two of diamonds and Pluto with the Jack of Spades as far as trusting people?
Well, that's the thing. First off, you got to trust yourself, right? You know what I mean? In regards to relationships and the two of diamonds and Pluto, you have to be very mindful of one, giving your power away, um, allowing other, watch out for the control issues that sometimes can happen with the two and Pluto. As you know, you have naturally a two in Pluto. Um,
Mhm.
so the two of diamonds, it's all about your value and those attracting those relationships of value of worthiness and, being able to not allow relationships to be the only focus, right? It becomes such when I think there's a two in Pluto, there's such a strong desire to connect. And again, with that, you have to be careful, like that codependent energy, fears. And it may require where you are facing any kind of fears about your own value and your own worthiness when it comes to relationships. And with the Jack of Spades being the reward card to that energy, which is crazy because it's how it works in my own life spread, any relationship transformation that you're going through is really initiating you. Like, it's relationships will probably be, a test this year, but at the same time, with that Jack of Spades being the reward card, you're essentially transforming. You're kind of going to be coming from a higher place when it comes to that, and really seeing, the power that you have. You're displacing the King of Hearts too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. What's weird about that is, we've been speaking and we were talking about having a men's group, and I didn't even look at my own spread to be honest to be thinking about doing anything for men or towards men, but that would actually make sense. And actually, there's a post that kind of went viral on my page. It was already viral. I reposted it, and then it just picked up from the algorithm, right? So I have just this flood of people, but it was speaking towards men as far as black men in particular about how sometimes in the workplace their voice is compromised, and they may not be able to express themselves um, as comfortable. So I have this post with all these men on my page now. Like I'm like, what in the world is going on? Not even asked for, right? But I guess that's what we do post for, right? I guess to go viral, maybe. But, so I'm like, okay, now what do I do with this audience and this group of people of men that have this relationship around their work environment and their history, and similar experiences. So I could go through the list, maybe offer maybe a webinar or something like we was planning to do. So why didn't even think about it? That's like the perfect marketing point or way to attract the audience that we was kind of looking to kind of have a webinar with for astrology. So I think that'll be dope because I think the King of Hearts is, of course, right, talking about man personality, but character, right? And I think and the building of character and camaraderie around people that's like you, which all kings build a kingdom of likeness, right? They surround themselves with kings, right? So, in character building and building relationships, and the personification of love of being that king, going out and helping other people, being of aid, being of service is the King of Hearts. So
Mhm.
I think that would be kind of dope, if I do, persist with that and make sure I kind of manifest that. But I thought it was interesting, me displacing the King of Hearts. It goes viral after my birthday, and I have this email list of men. I was like, okay, I just, I
Way
just,
to go. That sounds great. Sounds like you're being lined up to do all your magic there, Rashad.
yeah, it's working its magic on me, right? But yeah, for sure. But even so, we kind of talked about even having a women's group as well. So I think now from the experience, that's a good marketing standpoint is making posts, gathering information, people they support. Of course, they call them emotional pinpoints in marketing, right? Things that make people talk. Some people call it pain points. I hate to say pain points. That sounds
I
like
know. I hate
the
that
marketing
too.
pain.
Always bugs me. It's like, come here. Do you feel really bad? I'm going to make you better. It's like, no, you want to like wake up together and stop being stupid? Let's talk, like, come on. It's more like that. So I'm excited to hear that's happening because as the family card tables kind of settled the seeds into the ground for it to grow, those seasonal conversations that me, you, and Gina are talking about, and you having the men kind of come to you. I mean, thank you, universe, eh?
Yeah, it kind of lined up pretty well. So I know you just kind of popped in. Gina was giving me a reading. We're going through my
Oh,
life.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So this is my life spread at this particular moment. And was kind of got into the King of Hearts and me displacing that. So that's kind of how I got into that story. So, for those who are joining, for those who may watch after, what I'm speaking about as far as the displacement, and we're giving you a live reading actually. So hopefully you all are appreciating it. But I know sometimes it's filled with jargon as well. So let's kind of slow down. So I am the three of diamonds, okay? And I am displacing the King of Hearts. All right. So
Big
whenever you,
Rico Suave energy. And I mean, you
yeah,
have the King of Hearts, the Queen of Hearts, the Eight of Hearts. Boy, you better put yourself out there. You better be on a stage. You better be doing. I mean, seriously, don't waste that. That's beautiful energy.
mm,
People, the ladies gonna be flocking to you, Rashad. You're gonna have to beat them off with a stick.
I have work to do. I really do. I have a lot of work to do.
Finding the right stick.
Yeah.
Beat them off with a stick for real. Even those nines, don't let those nines deter you. I just went into a whole thing about nines today in my webinar because those nines are sexy. Those nines are very intimate energies, right? And having that nine of clubs in Venus and that nine of spades is what the cosmic lesson. You're gonna be learning, relationships and letting go of whatever holds you back from having those healthy relationships. Like that's gonna be key.
Yeah, with the
What else
nine
you
of
got?
clubs, six of clubs,
Yeah.
six of hearts. No, you know what? Yeah, today was kind of I was talking to my dad this weekend, and a lot of times my stepdad, and a lot of times we pattern our relationships based on our parents, even if they're not even biological, just based upon how they respond to you. So and then you go out into the world and you respond to the world like that. I know we kind of speak about that a lot, but I did have to look at it for myself. And I can be and I have an ace of spades. I can be a very standoffish person, keep to myself type of person. And it's the ace of diamonds week, and the ace of diamonds itself also sits Jupiter, Neptune, right? So
Mhm.
with the ace of diamonds sitting Jupiter, Neptune, vertically it has an ace of spades, Mars, and the light spread for them. So they can also kind of be to themselves, kind of secretive, self-preservation, what they may say, right? Ace of diamonds may have an ace in the back pocket or ace of spades, right? Or have an extra card in the back pocket that it may not let you know about. So it's that type of energy. So it may not be expressive, or it may want to tell you a lot about themselves. But as they become self-aware, they actually end up being very self-righteous and become teachers, and and skilled in far as the art of, I guess you can say, esoteric information or knowledge. A lot of times, Ace of Diamonds can be wizards a lot of times, what we call, or witches in certain professions, what they may call them. There's people that work with the development of oneself. Self mastery is the life path of the Ace of Diamonds and the Ace of Spades. And they may come in within isolation, right? Because both of those cards sit in Neptune for a reason, I think. So, yeah, I don't express myself, so I don't reach out. I don't talk very much. So there is certain patterns that I spoke with my dad about, and he also expressed the same thing. I was like, maybe I get it. Maybe I get it from you. But I definitely know I get it from my mom. She is a Jack of Diamonds, who also sits Neptune, Uranus. So there's a little pattern there for me. Yeah. Um, so yeah,
And you
there's
really even help that stuff, like those things that you pick up from your family, like they're so subtle, those things that we kind of like inherit from our parents, and it seems that growing up is when you actually get to look at them and embrace them and recognize you made a choice. Like you said yes to that. You said, yeah, I'm going to go with that one. I feel connected to that. Like it wasn't like they made you eat the Kool-Aid. You get to pick from all the big people around you. Am I going to be like Auntie Yo-Yo, and am I going to be like this one or that one? And I think sometimes our parents' imprint is so subtle, but we're also choosing to imitate them. Like we're looking up to them in a way. And I think as you get older, you start to challenge, is that how I would do it? Even though that's how they did it?
yeah, and it's kind of in the cards as well. It played to my cards pretty well. And as we look at relationships, and I know that you all have, was it parenting? What is the Friday segment called?
The family card table.
Family card table.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at relationships, and you see these patterns and how these relationships and these things are built, right? And the metaphysical um, combustion, or of these personalities. So, and that's why we're here, because this kind of helps you understand the relationships that's built. And there's the Ace of Diamonds week. So the Ace of Diamonds is about the value of self, learning, self knowledge, self mastery, you know, and early in their childhood is very important for them as well, as far as education, self development of their character, who they are, and their environment is very important, because they have the Queen of Diamonds and Mercury, you know. So a lot of them either is around a strong woman, or have a strong personality around them, or someone like with dominant features or characteristics, to help them develop, because training and skill wise is very important. I think sometimes just sometimes when you first get into the art of the cards, everything is magical, where it's like, oh, they're super smart, but then you see with real life people, where you start observing. That's why you got to observe the people, because the books romanticize a lot of things, and make it
Mm-hmm.
sound good, but without discipline and those things, with the Ace of Diamonds, their personal, their environment, and their values aren't as strong as they probably should be. They don't have a lot of things to fall back on, you know, with that.
Yeah, my dad's the Ace of Diamonds, and he was raised. My grandfather was a King of Clubs, and my grandmother was the Ace of Spades. So raised by very, very powerful cards, and
Mhm.
my dad himself, he's been in business for himself for probably almost 50 years now, getting close to it, I would say. Um, Very driven, very determined. It was always, you work hard, you can play hard. He was very much about do what you're supposed to do, and he would never, like, well, if we went out to dinner, like, my brother and we didn't have to, like, if we wanted steak, if we wanted something, not, he didn't mind. He did not mind spending the money, but it was like, you had to definitely be grateful and appreciative of it. He will not tolerate any kind of disrespect whatsoever. which understandable. But at the same time, like he was very generous. You know, my dad's always been very generous. He'd help people, even in his business. Like if someone couldn't afford to pay for something, I'm sure he would work with them. You know, and I think that's a big part of why he's been in business for as long as he has, because even though he can be a hard ass and be really difficult to deal with at times in that space, but he would always like take care of you. You know what I mean? And he had, because where I'm from in Palm Beach, very senior citizen capital of the world, right? A lot of old people, a lot of retirees. So he had like a soft spot for them. You know, if they couldn't, you know, they need to drive up with their car and he had to work on it for them. You know, he became like almost like a family member to them. You know what I mean? And so he's always like felt this urge to take care of, and that nine of hearts they have in Saturn, you know. And as tough as he could be, he has that soft side too, though. You know, and I think he always had a soft side for, you know, people and being able to work with them and being very giving. But I'm telling you, he is not one to you. Don't slack. If you're lazy, if you don't do your job, oh, he will chew you up and spit you out. No doubt about it. And I think for me, that entrepreneurial spirit, you know, my grandmother, his mother, you know, and this is back, you know, 50s, 40s, you know, she ran her own business. She cut hair in to the basement. The basement was like a barber, like a salon. And so as she raised 5 kids, she also worked the ace of spades, right? You know, she'd be cutting hair and cooking dinner. This ain't like, so very much about the work, very much about putting in the work, but also being able to enjoy the fruits of that labor too. You know what I mean?
As far as his mother, she was able to enjoy it.
I think, you know, she was they were very family oriented, like family dinner, you know, but at the same time, like there was so much respect and respect for the work and respect for like that. Like there was no laziness like at all. Very determined, you know, very determined to succeed. Um, and I think that all trickled down to all of my dad's siblings, because they all been very successful, um, done very well for themselves. So you can see that power with them. They, like I said, my grandfather was the king of clubs, and my grandmother was the ace of spades. So
Do you think they like pass down work ethic, or just so
yeah,
an example of that kind of life?
both. You know, absolutely. You know, my grandmother having a salon in her basement, and still, you know, being a mother to 5 kids, and still being a very social, very, very social lady. Like parties, they had you know, this is in New York, so they had a basement that also had a bar and then a salon. And it was crazy. And so they played as well. Like they definitely enjoyed those times together, getting everybody together. You know, being Italian, drinking, the eating was always such a big thing. um, and so finding the balance, though, I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but just from what I saw when I was younger and being around them when I would go visit them, like she would be cooking. She'd be up in the morning, she'd be chopping garlic to make sauce, and she'd run downstairs, she'd have a few ladies coming in doing their hair, back upstairs to finish dinner. I mean, she never stopped. You know, she and if I wanted to sleep in, oh my god, like, why do you sleep all the time? Want to. I'm a kid. You know, there's like, we can find things for you to do. And I'm like, no.
Didn't they always say that? They always said that.
Oh my God.
You're bored? I got a list.
Yeah.
That's what I would hear. You're bored? I got a list. But you know, Gina, that's interesting you bring that up, because today, hey J-Lo, I was just responding to the astrology and the way my humanness does, and one of the things I hit is that core I keep bumping into, that like mom archetype, and this desire to kind of like shed the lead, if you will, like just let some of that martyr energy that comes with it. And do you guys ever see that movie, What the Bleep Do You Know?
No. I don't think so.
It's like 12, 13 years ago it was out, but it's a documentary, but pretty much Joe Dispenza and all those guys and Bruce Lipton and all them got on and talked about how we're addicted to emotional currents.
Mm.
And how our personalities are shaped around these emotional currents. And so when we don't have the stimulation of that type, we're kind of like looking for the IV, like, where am I? Like, how am I? Like, what do I do? Like, what's my moves, you know? And I've been home for a few days and I hadn't had a few days off like that with just no one around. And it's been really sweet. But I found myself kind of grieving the goodbye. I don't even know if I want to call it grieving. I just know I was funky. I was just funky. And I was like, and then all of a sudden a bunch of stuff happened and I had to make breakfast and I got into that mode and I started moving like a little machine. And I was like, boy, there's something about it. You know, I think that's why older people say, let me just do it. Some of them, because they want to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what am I doing if I'm not the parent person? And I'm not looking to be the grandmother mother, you know, I'm looking to be the crone, maiden crone that I am, you know, like that's what I am in the moon. So, and it's like, how do you embrace the maiden again when you got to jump off that mother archetype? Because the mom's not supposed to be frisky and playful and goofy and stuff like that, right? Mom's supposed to make sure there's lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's such an interesting shift. I just keep being so aware of it. I'm like, boy, this is but I mean, you know, 37 years in or so, you definitely get used to something.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and I do it in my own age. I do it, you know, I do it with my, you know, friends and stuff. We joke about it, but there's for sure that James Hollis talks about it in a book called Through the Dark Wood. It's like you're going through all the reasons that you might not have done stuff, but you didn't even consider them because you were the mom, like you had to, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't that I'm not complaining. I'm saying that's drove my character for so long. So to reinvent myself really remounds. I must be momming wrong this time. I don't know. I for sure didn't grow the sovereignty until they got a little older for me. So I was pretty engaged in everything that was happening, you know. So who's to say? I just know that what you're talking about as far as what the other generations brought, there was a steadiness to our elders, but there's also a way that elders are people.
Oh yeah, they're, you know, my grandparents were very social. They had a lot of friends. They had the boat club down on the Hudson. I mean, some of the most social people I have ever. It was always someone there. She was cooking I mean, she cooked all day, every day. It felt like. I always said if I lived anywhere near them, because they lived in New York and I grew up in South Florida, that I'd be like 400 pounds because all I would do was eat. She made homemade biscuits. I mean, everything from scratch. You know, I mean, homemade pasta. I mean, it was incredible.
And they always wanted you to eat, right? They're always trying to get you to eat something else.
I remember when I did my other Nana's eulogy, that I put that in there. Like, you could walk in, just ate lunch, but she will try to feed you, and you better take it, because that's very insulting if you don't eat that food. She don't care if you're full.
The other day I went to a pool around here, and on the way there's this pie place, and it's supposed to be like these amazing pies, right? And I walk in and I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't need to buy a pie. Why am I buying pie? But my son's like, Ma, it's a pie place. You got to go look at it. So I walk around and I decide I'm not going to buy a pie. And there's this guy outside, and he's a big guy, you know, and he's driven hours to get this pie. And I walk out like, you're not getting a pie? Like, you got to get a piece of pie. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like
what's wrong with you?
Like, you got to have the pie. Go in there and get that pie. And like, I did. I was like, oh, okay. And I like went in and bought like 2 slices of pie. And then I come out of the car and I'm like, what is this? It's like, I'm just like told I have to do these things. I'm like, oh, you're right. Yeah, I better go in there. So comical.
Yep. Yeah, food was a big thing. Like, you know, everything. And it was funny because she would be up with the butt crack of dawn. You wouldn't smell eggs and bacon. You smelled garlic being sauteed and peeled and, you know, roasted and everything, which is not a bad thing. So good. And then, like, she would, like I said, cut hair, come up, cook dinner. But once she cooked and once she sat down, she never got back up again. Like my grandfather, then that's when he would step in. He cleaned the whole kitchen, clear the whole, I mean, obviously the kids as well, because you could not sit at that table and not get up and help. Like, you'd be stared, like death stared. So you'd get up and help and clean, which obviously, but when she was done, that was it. It was a wrap. She never got back up. She'd been working all day. You know what I mean? And I said there, like when I tell you, no laziness in that with that at all, like none. And even you see that with, you know, my uncles and my aunts too, my dad's siblings. You know, my aunt worked for American Airlines. My uncles worked for IBM. Like very, very done very well. You know, and there's a strong. It's because that strong, very strong work ethic that they saw both of their parents have. You know, so, and I think even like their ace, another ace of clubs, jack of clubs, 10 of diamonds, you know, or are some, I think the other cards of his siblings, if I can remember correctly. So very interesting dynamics with that one. And then it definitely rolled into my dad, you know, my dad, like I said, he's very generous. He very much give you, if I had to call my dad right now for any kind of help, he would help me. It would probably come with a lecture, but he would help me. You know what I mean? It would definitely come with a lecture, but he would help me. And that's the thing. And he knows, and it's not because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Maybe something happened, or especially if it's for his granddaughters, he would definitely do anything. So, but it is about you, but he's also the type of person, like, you can't be lazy. You got to put in the work. And when it comes to their work ethic, that ace of diamonds. And I remember when I learned about the cards, and I remember hearing like, oh, they can't really work for anybody else. I was like, oh my God, that's so my dad. That's why he runs his own business. Like he barely can find people to work for him per se, because he can be intense. But he's very much about do the job and do it well. And the quality of people that, you know, is not what it used to be. So he's had a hard time like finding people to do the work. And he's the type of person like, I'll do it myself. And the last time I saw him, like, Dad, you're getting up there. Like, you gotta retire. And my stepmom's like, yeah, we're gonna go. We got land here, and we're gonna go here. And he's like, well, I might open up an ice cream store. And she's all mad. I'm like, he can't not do nothing. that will be what takes him out. He cannot.
That's what I'm
like
saying.
do nothing.
Yeah, like what is it gonna be if it's not that? Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
He has to do. And I tried to explain it. They know I do these cards, and I was like, he's an ace of diamonds. He has to do. She's like, well, what am I?
What is what, if you don't mind saying?
She's a jack of hearts, actually.
Oh wow, okay.
She's the Virgo. But see, I it's funny because I've talked about this in the webinar today. Like when I figured that out, I was like, no way. But I realized she's more like her planetary ruling card, the 9 of clubs. She is like the brainiest, the brainiac. I mean, she is so freaking intelligent. It's insane the amount of information that her brain holds. She's gone to school. She's a lawyer. She's been to law school. She speaks languages. She plays multiple instruments. Very creative, very talented, very artistic. So she's very much that 9 of clubs energy, in my opinion, more than the jack of hearts.
She's a
So Gina, you're a jack of hearts planetary ruling card?
I'm a Leo, so I'm like the most concentrated jack of hearts that there is.
She's a Virgo jack of hearts. What day?
August 28th, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's ruled by the 9 of clubs, which makes much more sense to me. When I was like that's it right there.
You know what else is interesting is how she's the sign after you. Like in my family, it's like May, June, July. It's all of our birthdays, right? And all in that like transition into the Leo from the Gemini and taking, you know, the stuff from the Taurus to the Gemini and to the Cancer. Like there's definitely something going on there. Like I feel like sometimes families also come together where they're similarly placed as far as what houses and what they're working on.
Yeah, my youngest one's a Virgo. She's after me. She was actually due to be a Leo, but she came late. And then my oldest, it's so crazy because she's a Capricorn, but it's all in the 5th house, and I'm all of my Leos. I have a 5th house stellium, all Leo. So it's just funny how.
Yeah, that stuff's amazing. That stuff really is amazing. That's the mirroring, right? That's the mirroring.
But she's a very much like, you got to get your shit together, Mom. Can't play all day. Ugh, why not? So.
Well, you've been playing and doing things you love. You've been playing and doing things you love.
That's right. I mean, to me, it's all play.
What were you gonna say, Rashawn?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I've been thinking about, and I think I seen Aquarius posts about looking at the cards that's in your family and looking at the relationships and what's the lesson that you're supposed to teach each other, you know? So,
Hmm.
yeah, me being the three of diamonds, I definitely bring certain aspects of optimism and money management and all of those things to my mother. And even what was taking place, they say go back to the womb and what was taking place at the womb at that particular time. So looking at the energy around your child and seeing does that relate. And I want to ask my mom, like, what was going on? What was going through your head? Like, what's the energy that was cultivating while you were making and developing me as this universal being. So
How old
yeah.
was she? How old was she when she had you?
um I can't say exactly, between 21 to 23 for sure though.
So look at the plates. That'll
Yeah.
tell you.
Oh yeah, I've looked at it before. I just can't think how old she was. I would go to it. But yeah, I know the story. I know my dad's side of the story, but it's like what was going on in her mind, I don't know. So
That's an interesting part of where I'm working with these young girls. Like they come in and they tell the stories of their early family, and you can really see how when there's a split in their family and they're not really sure what side is like the side or what's fair or where to go, it makes a split in them, like a conflict that shows up emotionally.
oh no, yeah,
Like,
for sure. Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. I think family therapy is something that is undervalued, um, especially me, and being African American. I'm not can't speak for the African American community or just Black people in general, but family therapy and therapy in general. Even Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club even stated that men undervalue therapy. You know, even metaphysical sciences is a form of therapy, but do not substitute it for any medical or traditional practice therapy or psychological analysis, but it is a tool to help you learn yourself, to help those understanding of self development, self karma, and so you may can go into traditional practices, maybe a little better. I say traditional as if this is not the tradition of is birthed from, which I don't know if I showed the clip earlier of someone giving a speech, but I forgot her. Can't really pronounce her name. Something L. I believe she may be a more, but she was just talking about how metaphysical practices and these things were forms of therapy before. And her name is Zadias L on YouTube. She's a Black woman. She speaks about uses of metaphysics, numbers to understand. Even goes back to the methods of Rosicrucians, which talks about the 52 days of your cycle, and the first 52 being, your personal development, or It's not Mercury Sun, is your sun cycle, and the Rosicrucians cycle. And yeah, there's also some books dedicated to that as well. I'm over here just giving book shout outs. But Numerovation by King Simon has the Rosicrucians, and I don't know if this one has it. Leopold Classic Library. I don't know if that one has it, but I know King Simon does. Um, but yeah, just the whole personal development process and use of numerology and cardology for your psychological development, I think it's important, even for families, to understand the chemistry. Like you said, that's why I do family card table is more family focused and looking at the chemistry between your relationships, and family concepts. So yeah.
And I think, Rashad, that when you speak on therapy, I think people just assume or put this notion that there's something wrong with you if you go to therapy, right? That
Really.
there's something wrong, and that's not always the case. I think therapy is beneficial for everybody, and that may show up differently for everybody. Some people don't mind sitting on a couch and talking to someone. For some people, that doesn't do a damn thing. There are some people who need different forms, like somatic therapy. Some people need to go to hypnosis. Some people need, play therapy. I think it has to be catered to individual. And I think we have to strip it of that. If you go to therapy, if you seek therapy, that there's something wrong with you. And I think there needs to be just a redevelopment of how we view that, rather than that, oh no, you're in therapy, you must have issues.
The therapists are the ones with the issues. Come on. But,
And they need therapy too, because you have to, or at least they need to find practices that help them, be able to kind of release a lot of the things that kind of get presented to them or dumped onto them, if you will. So they also have to, even me, I seek counsel. Sometimes it's hard to see yourself objectively. So, hey, can you look at this for me? Or how would you see this? You know what I mean? I think that's really just having someone else's
definitely a
perspective.
safe place. To the points you guys made, I remember one guy coming in one time saying, I feel like I'm in the principal's office of like failing life, like as if like you're doing something wrong because you have to go to therapy. So, and if you think about therapy as a relationship, it's really just a safe place to put your puzzle pieces on the table and get reflected in hopefully an honest, authentic way that's not judging you. Right? That's simply all it's meant to do. And then it can help you like integrate things to support, more of your own wholeness. But that really depends on your ability to accept all the parts of yourself. And the thing about therapy, or anytime you go and talk in a circle, even in coming here or wherever we go, you get revealed. Your stuff is shown, right? There's a vulnerability in joining conversations and relationships, right? It can't just be what you think it is in your head, because you're going to be what actually comes out,
Even getting a reading.
Yeah.
Right, even getting a reading, it's vulnerable, because you can see the whole plate. You can see what they may be experiencing, right? And it does make you be vulnerable. But I think that's the first step.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also.
No, go ahead.
I kind of forgot. I mean, I was just three things in my head at the same time at that time. I was like, oh boy.
Okay. No, you're fine. No, yeah, definitely so. Definitely, if you're dating a spiritual woman, just be careful. She may be in your business without you telling your business. And I'm just sorry to tell you, like, yeah, she's probably looking at your spread, probably looking at your charts. And I was friends with a woman, and she looked at my spread, and she knew, like, I felt so seen that I couldn't even really confirm what she was saying. But Andrea, you're on point. I have to get her her IG, her business, but she does the cards. But yeah, she was definitely on point. I had a Queen of Hearts, and she was like, "Yeah, there's going to be a woman that has a kid, or maybe pregnant, or maybe children or something." And I was like, "Dang, like she is in my business."
Like, well, you put up your spread earlier. You're like, "Oh, you're telling my age. Just put the plate up there. Like, come on." You know what I mean? Like, once you know the person's age and their card, you are able. But I'm very sensitive to that, though. I ask permission. Like, I do protect people's, privacy, I guess. I think that's important. To be able to, because you can get a whole in-depth view of what they may be going through. But I look at it as, how can I help you? That's just how I'm always going to look at this, is like, what can I maybe show you, differently, what are you experiencing, and how can I help you see these energies from the high side, right? I'm not going to just blow over the low side, because it's part of it, but I'm always going to try to get someone to see the best out of that plate, the best of where they're sitting.
Yeah, it's tools of self-development, it's supposed to fuel you, supposed to give you life. There's a book called, which book is it? I believe it's, I have to see, which book is it? I'll think of it here in a second. But she speaks about, as far as certain people doing readings in a certain time period and having the effects of fear mongering. and just that whole practice of giving readings can scare people. Fortune telling by the
Mhm.
cards, and she just and even within modern day astrology as well. I think astrologers speak about it as well within the Indian community. Some people have spoken about Indian astrologers, doing rituals, and it's not really used to fearmonger. It's definitely supposed to help you. If it definitely supposed to help you see the bad and the good, right? I can't say that I've had regrets of not giving a reading because I think it could have helped a situation that ended up almost being fatal, So I definitely think it's not always to fearmonger, but it is a form of divination to warn you and to help you, right? Avoidance, practical planning, and that's also the Ace of Diamonds as well. They don't mind diving into metaphysics or metaphysical practices. It sits Jupiter, Neptune. So there is, like I said, they are wizards. They can be, but it has to be a practical means. It has to be something that they can actually use and valuable for them, right? 'Cause diamonds is use case. It's things that are practical, things that you work for, and there's some type of reward, right? When you think of diamond, you think of reward. What is the reward of my work that I'm doing and that I'm putting in? So what is the reward of me studying these metaphysical tools? Is it really going to help me develop myself? And they have a Queen of Spades, Queen of Diamonds, Seven of Clubs, Uranus. Those are all, I think, places where they'll find people that can give them that information and those sciences and that tools, or find those tools and those sciences within this week, or the energy around it is self development, and that's why we use these tools is to help better ourselves. Queen of Spades is the working woman, right? So you do find, like I said, a lot of hard working women around the Ace of Diamonds.
My grandma. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I totally resonate to all of that, because I would say that the drive I have felt towards the children and them being safe to be themselves, like, because I grew in that generation where you shouldn't be seen, you shouldn't be seen and not heard. It was all about the kids being heard, but then I was so conscious of how these kids were carrying so much of what wasn't theirs. And that became something that bothered me. And then when I went into the hospitals and I saw what people were doing, I was like, oh man, this is not what people need. Like, we are nowhere near the boat. Like, this is not okay. So, like, for me, the work that's been mine to do is just getting the things that I feel are going to be helpful in position to be used, right? Because everyone's going to open up to it when they open up to it, but we need to have tracks that people can use to actually use it, to understand, to give themselves that break and recognize, like, I got to stop being mad at this kid for being a two. Like, he's a two. You know what I mean? Like, I got to let him be a two. And I got to deal with
Yeah,
the way he reacts and his stubbornness, like all the parts of his too. Like, I got to learn how to accept it and react, kindly to his choice and not impose my will onto another thing. And I think that's what this whole sovereignty thing is about. It's not just about not getting emotionally entangled. It's about using your will to keep yourself still, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think too, if people aren't open to these forms, because to me, I've always said this is like a form of therapy. I've saved thousands of dollars in therapy because of knowing these cards. They have helped me tremendously. And that's why I will always say, like, know your spread. Having an intimate relationship with every single card you have in your path is one of the best, like, services you can do for yourself, in my opinion. Other people may not be open to this, and that is fine. I would never push this on someone, force it onto someone, but I'm here if anybody ever wanted to dive into it, because I love it. But and because it has helped me tremendously, um, that's why I will always do this work and always be a part of this, because it's been so beneficial to just me and beyond me, with my family, with me at making understandings in my own family has been so helpful. And So for me, it has been a very therapeutic way of doing things. But if anything, it's taught me the most about myself. And I think that's so important. And I think that's what therapy even does for others, is it like reconnects you to you, helps you have a better understanding to you. And I think it's just finding the right form, practitioner, system, modality that works for you, right? And I think that's key.
And I actually think that the new challenge to that game is it's not a one-on-one thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
even in a one-on-one, when you get into a relationship, everybody goes to like each other, care about each other, you swap stories. Like before you know it, you have this great dynamic with somebody, you're growing with them and learning with them, but it's not necessarily activating the alchemy that a group can, right? Because if
Mm.
you've got 4 women talking about their different things and you're all coming back and hearing it, and they're all women in their 40s, say, and they're all talking about what it feels like to be in their 40s, you're going to get so much smarter about being yourself than if you sit and tell somebody what you figured out about why somebody did that and they should have done this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why the tens are connected to the queens as well. Like the ten of diamonds, um, the ten of spades, all of those tens are connected to the queens, because it's around like group and gathering of people. It's a collection of people, and that's healing. Healing groups, therapy. A Ten of Hearts is a place where that you can find hospitals, and the service of being service to other people, being service to a crowd or having people around. So, yeah, I definitely think so. The Queen of Diamonds is the only one that doesn't have a 10 directly in the spread, I think, but still has a Queen of Spades in the. Yeah. Yeah, so group work I think is definitely healing and helpful. So before we leave, I did want to speak about the political or politics of what's kind of taking place in America. Happy birthday to America. I did actually read something or hear something that America may be a Gemini. So I don't know about that. The writing
It's a
in
jack.
the
I think jacks have very strong, because they can kind of switch it up. They're like, you don't know what you're going to get. Two-sided.
Mhm.
So I could see that. Even though it's a Cancer, it may have it. Maybe it's in a Gemini. Maybe its sun is in a Gemini degree. Maybe they have a lot of
No, I think it
Gemini
was the
placements.
No, I think it was signing of the papers or something. Which they also say that about the signing of the not the, maybe the declaration. Maybe it was no, it was something else. Signing of another document was way before, but I cleared it up too. But it was the same woman that I was speaking of. But I was just throwing it out there. Possibly, I can kind of see that. But yeah, I think Jack in itself is childish. You is going to knowledge, information, dispensing. Um, so yeah, possibly.
Sure, you're
So
not.
how?
They were. You're not. You're not with that, especially with the jack. I mean, all the jacks, right? They have the ability to morph. There's a chameleon type energy. They can fit into a room. They know how to put on a mask. They know how to put on a face. They know how to, you know, that's very Gemini to me, because it's just it's too sad. You're not. What am I going to get today? I've told y'all how when I used to work in the restaurant industry, and if someone made a man, I could cuss you out and have you to tears and walk right out that kitchen and be like, hi, what can I get you? Like, you never even knew it happened. Like, it's just whoop, right off my face. So to me, that's very Gemini energy, to be able to kind of just, you're not sure what the two sides, you're just not sure. So I see that with the Jack. I can see that with the United States. But the United States around plate 68, that's what year we're at.
Okay.
No,
60.
Madeline is a jacket, and I completely relate to that. I have that Gemini placement of my Mars and Venus, and it
There
does
you
make
go.
me feel like you're as dark as you are light.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so they're on plate 68. So a lot of times, whenever I look at the United States spread, I look at just the United States, and then depending on what's taking place or who's the president or vice president, I look at it as far as the energy that they may, as far as they may kind of speak to within that particular spread, if they're in directly in the spread, like um, Kamala Harris is the Mercury card for United States between now and next year. But that kind of actually, to me, it speaks kind of strongly, to her possibly. But, and I would say that because Joe Biden's personal spread, he displaces or has like a nine of spades, has a nine of spades coming up for him after his birthday, you know. Um, so this is the United States birthday. Right now, they're sitting Uranus, Neptune, all right? And Kamala Harris is a two of clubs. All right. And Donald Trump is the three of diamonds, which is actually what is that for them? Is that Pluto?
Neptune.
Neptune? Yeah, because that's Pluto for the six club. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Neptune,
Because the Pluto is the ace of spades. Mm-hmm.
the ace of space.
No, the ace of spades is the Pluto card for the United States.
Oh, yeah. Right,
the
right,
three
right.
of diamonds is the Neptune card. So that makes sense. You've already even seen that prior to this plate being active, right? And a lot of times you'll find that too, that the year doesn't have to be exact for that energy to already start to invoke. You'll see a lot of times in the Uranus 52-day period and the Neptune 52-day period, where your year is kind of wrapping up, the energies of the new year are already starting to come into play. And you can see that with Trump being the Neptune card to the United States this year.
How is that? Are you saying that as far as
Because people look at him to save the country, to save your energy. Like he's going to come in and fix everything and save it. And then it's Neptune. So people nobody is seeing clearly. They're both on the same bird.
Different glasses, as they would say, as far as they're having rose-colored glasses, as far as his possible alternative motives,
they're just again they're putting him up on that like savior pedestal. Like he's going to come in and save the whatever the wherever we are, the whatever they think that they're saving from. And then you have Biden is sitting, and he's not in the spread directly, but he's sitting in the house of the nine of clubs, which also can be like even looked at as like that humanitarian and that say they have that kind of like I need to save type energy too. So it's interesting to see this.
And also possibly for the King of Hearts overall, maybe could speak to change or completion overall as well. Like you've finally completed something or something that's came into culmination as far as your personal desires and wishes, which also denotes or kind of hints to him displacing the Ace of Hearts. He is displacing the Ace of Hearts. So I was going to speak about that a little bit. That's that's 81 in his life spread. He's
okay. Well, I think you can also see, there's been talks of him stepping down, right, because of his health and his health deteriorating, which is interesting because what's her name, the vice president, the two of clubs in Mercury, if she was, I don't know that would last long, because Mercury doesn't have a lot of staying power, doesn't have longevity. So it'll be interesting to see what plays out.
And it's in like Neptune. So you have to think like it's not really thought about, may not be seen, may not be heard, if anything, maybe her presence with women could be heard or seen if he spoke to women a little bit more, which I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't, but I'm just saying me not even thinking or knowing, so that's what I'm thinking from a path of just reading from the spread, right? Not saying this is what she's doing or what she's not doing at this particular moment. But if I was look at this is how I would look at it or read it. So her dedication, maybe into foreign aid or helping those who are suffering or people that's in need. Queen of Hearts to me is like Mother Teresa, right? So if she is seen or heard, it would be around shelters, of helping people where she's finding empathy around people that's like really in need, you know. But this is just energy that just kind of started though, right? But like you said, it is also pre things that we kind of see going into the birthday of the United States also, right? There's a lot of energy around Trump. He's a three of diamonds, and he's Pluto too. You say he's Pluto for the United States?
No,
Oh,
Neptune.
Neptune. Yeah. This is my favorite mentor. She's actually a two of diamonds. One second. Let me tell her I'm busy right quick. She called
So
me
I'm
sometime.
hearing what Rashad's saying. Just turn off your mic, Rashad. And I'm thinking about how the systems that we're in at current, we're all getting a sense that they can be better and they can be improved and things have to change, right? And part of what split everybody was political parties, right? And if we're leaving duality consciousness in a larger, louder, more sincere way, any ways that we're letting ourselves be split over these narratives is a limitation in our clarity and our stillness. So as much as it makes sense that it's going to have a course and it's going to finish how it finishes, I also like to think that somehow, in the way the cards are working for us, these guys are playing out stuff to exhaust it, to be able to see it for like the ridiculousness of it, like that we're picking these two different men that have these lives that we only know the parts they show us, and we're saying you're going to run the country, but you really don't run the country. A bunch of people underneath you run the country, and most of them, seemingly from the stories we hear, are giving money to the people who want to make money because consumerism has been running our reality for such a long time. And there's an awakening from that distortion, right? We're starting to recognize that these are lies. Like we can't keep our power to everyone else. So I think this whole political story is also part of what's trying to kind of, bring up the guts and the Pluto, like bring up the deep stuff, like get people to look at like what's really important, what's going to keep us safe together and not fighting over this stuff. But it is interesting to see these placements. I'm curious. I have heard from people that, have Swami Rami powers that they believe that he's already passed away, that this is an actor, that Biden's already gone. You know what I mean? So that's a weird thing. I don't know how or why that somebody would tell me that, but 2 or 3 people told it to me and I wasn't asking. I never talk about politics. So I just, whatever the stage is, it's to wake us up. It's not to pick sides and try to figure it out before it happens. It's to awaken the inner wisdom inside of us. That's just for sure.
So, and the Ace of Spades and Pluto is going to be very telling. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a lot of transformation. That, like you talked about, secrets, things that may have been hidden for quite some time. And you're already seeing that being played out on a stage anyways, with just different entities of this, country and the music industry and, different people being exposed for different things. It's like the thing, everything's going to be exposed. Everything that's been done in the dark will have to come to the light. And it may not be pretty, but the result card is the Ace of Hearts. So there's an opportunity for another birth,
For innocence to be rebirthed.
Right. It literally is the card of childbirth. Right.
Yeah,
so
if we're all being programmed, we're waking to an innocence, like an Ace of Hearts, like a new beginning.
And
so I think the United States spread is the same as mine, because when we did those rooms all those years, it was always on the same year I'm on. So the United States, I think, is on the 60 because that's when I am. I don't know what week they're in, but I know that whenever we would read the chart, I was on the same spread as the United States.
You're in the same planetary rule. You're in the same 52-day period.
Oh, is that what it is? Because I'm the July 2nd and it's July 4th.
So you're literally, they're in their Mercury 52. So are you, and when you move, they will move too. But this is the plate that they're displacing. They're obviously not 68. They're 248 years old, but this is what that would look like.
Okay. I get it. Okay.
And then you may, though, be on the same plate that they are weekly, and I don't follow that. So
it could be the weekly plate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you are in the same 52-day period. Yeah.
My bad. I think I said the three diamonds Pluto. I keep saying Pluto, but it's Neptune.
It's Neptune.
Yeah, and that would actually, for me, looking at this like that, as far as the play on politics, this America was kind of built upon these metaphysical practices, so That's a lot why we look at it a lot of times, because it is a lot of times revealing. Even just going out your day to day, you don't have to look at your cards for it to happen. It's going to happen regardless. You don't have much control over your daily cards, your weekly cards. And that's why I try not to stress too much on picking dates to do things, because ultimately you're going to do it regardless. It's like those saying, is either for you or it's not, right? I think knowing the energy and knowing what's taking place is important, and knowing how to play your cards is important. But trying to control it,
No.
you don't have much control.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Because
but being
truthfully, you can look ahead, right?
Mhm.
And you can look at your plate, you can look at your spread, but you don't know what's going to show up as that 9 or as that
Right,
7
right.
or as that 5. All you're going to know is how to respond to it. And I think
It's a
that's
loss
what
or something.
is so key, and why people get so misconstrued about readings. Like, well, tell me what this is this gonna I can't get down to, I mean, possibly, but that's not the purpose of this, right? You know what I mean? I think because that's where free will comes in. That's where you make a choice. But how a 5 shows up for me on a Mercury day, yeah, Madeline may experience similar characteristics, but she lives there. I live here. I may not leave my house when I have a 5, but my things may change. But she may go somewhere and started going this way, but ended up having to do a 360 just because something happened. So I say that to say it's not going to always be exact, but we know if you have a 5 in Mercury, something's going to change, right? How you respond to that is the key, is what you really want to do. Like, that's the work for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely a trip, maybe an offer, an invitation, something along those lines could possibly happen. Changing business opportunity. Maybe you just need to explore changes, even if it's not definite, even the exploration or thinking about it, is the result of that energy, possibly. So yeah, so just looking at United States spreads is just possible results that can possibly happen. And so with Donald Trump being the Neptune, and then the Ace of Space being there, if he does become president, um, I think that there is fear if he does, because there would possibly be something revealed, or maybe a lot, on a public stage. So, which he's always done, anyways. That's not nothing that's really surprising, right? But he has that third dominance with the spades. Speaking to United States, Pluto. It's pretty interesting to me. Let me just go to Joe Biden spread. I guess we can look at Donald Trump's as well. He's 81, which is, I'm thinking
Old.
about how old think about how old my grandmother is or was.
Tender.
And it's like, oh, he's close. Like,
Well, and,
he
and
is.
and before you talk on this real quick too, that the United States is sitting in the house of the 6 of spades. Whatever they've done, whatever they need to get back, it's Pluto return, y'all. They can't escape. Like, they're not going to escape it. So it's sitting in the house of the 6 of spades. It's the most ultimate card of, like, karma, fate, destiny. And then having that Ace of Spades in Pluto, it's time to take accountability. Like, it's time to it's so transformative. It's so very powerful, really, when you think about it. So
Yeah, and the Ace of Spades, the Six of Spades, Moon card ultimately is the Ace of Spades. So what's done in the dark shall come to light, one way or another, with the Ace of Spades and Mercury. And a lot of people do not, and it may not be comfortable for a lot of people
no,
as
it's
well.
people, because what's going to do is going to rip the wool right off. People be like, what? No way. Yahweh.
And and like I said, it's not really nothing new. I mean, what could be said these days, right? I know that's what some people may be thinking, but overall, you know, new things, and I think even esoteric information can become somewhat more popularized, maybe within this climate as well. The understanding of what's really taking place and what's really who's really in control, right? But Joe Biden, he's 81. That's all kind of speaking earlier. He's displacing the Ace of Hearts. Him displacing the Ace of Hearts, and I think with Kamala being his Mercury card now, and then she's
Wow.
being the Mercury card going into next year, she
This
should be
year.
doing most of the talking.
Yeah.
She should be doing. She. I don't know why he's even up there. And I was like, this has to be a setup. Like this. This is like you can't. Like this has to be a setup. Like you can't be serious. Like the energy is telling you that she should be talking in his place.
Yeah. Which I think they're gonna see more of.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then so, what's his Pluto card is the Five of Spades. Yeah, his health. It's definitely an indication of changes in health. And what's the reward card? The King of Clubs is the reward card to that Five of Spades.
Yeah, displacing the Queen of Spades, which is I would look at as a physician or a doctor or someone,
Yeah,
trying to help,
he needs one,
you
huh?
know, a therapist, something, someone.
Where do you think I apply? How do you think I can get that job? I mean,
I don't think it'll be
I
hard
think
as
I'm gonna
long
do
as you
it.
can talk into a mic and
All right, universe, if I can be the therapist to help put them back into clarity, I'm in for being on a team to support that possibility.
and just someone advising him. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they're not dumb people. Like I know someone is talking in his ear during the debate or just any type of press conference or interview, telling him what to say. There's no way that they don't have someone. All the movies have that, right? Like the person in the ear telling him what to say.
Right?
Like
Right?
someone like this is the
The
even
movies are
as
so funny, but everything we're gonna imagine is gonna be like what we saw in the movies, right? Like, so our
far as
minds
no,
are held to everything we watched in the movies, and there's some fantasy stuff. You're like, oh, imagine that, but who knows, right? Like every time I see a movie, I'm like, guess that's one of the possibilities. Somebody made a movie out of it.
no,
I
I've
feel like the
never.
movies are a way for them to tell us what they have in store or what's
Yeah, like dropping little seeds. Like, imagine if
Yeah.
this happened. Imagine that.
Mhm.
You're like, yeah,
Mhm.
wow. I'm glad that's on TV. I'm like, what's
That's
TV?
the only way to release your soul and repent for your sins, and is by the power of confession. So, they definitely confess through the way of movies, television,
That's true,
television,
Sean.
and
It's why
yeah,
they run it. It's why they
yeah.
determine what goes out and what doesn't, what makes it and what doesn't. It's very much they know this stuff.
You gotta clear your karma somehow.
Mhm.
And
But
are
like,
you
do
lying
they
if
know
you tell the truth?
stuff, or is this how it's all run? That's the part I've always been curious about. Like, is this what's known, or is this what's used to run the energies, right? Because there's seemingly collected energies that are controlled through money and desire or whatever, right? Safety to live somewhere, right? So the energies are controlled by something. So when I think about the cards, like they're using it, it's like what we just said. They might look ahead and make some decisions and stuff like that, but they're aware that there's an interconnection between us at some level, and they know how to access things that give them a certain amount of
Advantage.
power in their hands.
Because it's like I know I'm gonna meet. Like I was thinking, I think a lot of celebrities and a lot of these people are natural psychics, just natural in their own way, right? Following their intuition, God given intuition, and sticking with it, even as kids, I think. And some of them are groomed into these positions based upon their parents recognizing their talents or their abilities, So I think a lot of it is God given, their natural birthright, as well. Um, and just the cards playing out how they play a lot of times. But then also, you got to look at what was the ephemeris who made the ephemeris and what basis is the ephemeris or the tracking of the planets? What is that based upon? And then what is our calendar based upon? Because the country is ran based upon time in our calendar, dates, and so there's
Like,
structure, there's structure, order, organization, um, so there's a political science that they have to be aware of, and a lot of the people that built this country were metaphysicians. There was a metaphysics, and they were in the order of Masons, you know. So they were, had some type of knowledge of these particular of the energy that runs this particular country, right? So yeah, I think it's a culmination of a lot of different pieces and aspects, and I think they run with the energy and rather flow with it rather than fight it, right? Like, let's try to flow with it, and a lot of it is natural, a lot of it's just natural. So,
so
but
then,
yeah,
based on what you're saying, Biden could pass away or step down. The lady Camila should come up and speak more and can support the women. And ideally, that's going to be a better outcome for her to have the voice of the people than for Trump to win. Because if Trump wins, it'll be a lot of angry stuff.
no, I'm not saying who should win or not. No, I'm not saying who's going to win either. I'm saying
Okay.
as far as what taking place, if I was in in a position of power control, or if I had the ability to help, that's what I would advise. That's what the energy says. If for me looking at this, and it would have had a better outcome during his debates, I think, if that would have happened for him. And I think the energy looking at this says that as well, with the two of clubs in Mercury, and then you have the two of clubs in Mercury for the United States. It just makes sense. Him dying, I didn't kill him off yet. That wasn't part of the story.
Well, sometimes nine is and death. No, isn't that one of the things that nines and death come together? Like, it's not
Yeah,
that
but
far.
that's after his birthday. I believe he's the 26th or the 28th, and the elections are the 5th. So he doesn't
Oh,
go to
so he'll be
80.
Rashad, I'm sorry. He's 81 right now, and he's going to be
Yeah,
82 right around the election time because his birthday is around that time, right?
right. So he'll be displacing the Ace of Diamonds, that's why it was relative to today, because we're talking about Ace of Diamonds week. So next
The
year,
nine of spades is pushing him. Oh, Lord.
yeah. So we've tried to kill off a few presidents before, and they survived.
We have.
Let's not kill them off. Yeah, but for
It's so
Trump, he lost, so we can't say he didn't die. He did lose. He did lose, which is the nines. Like Gina was saying, you
right,
don't know how it's going to happen.
right.
It's a loss or disappointment or being upset one way or another. And what makes it kind of upsetting for him in both ways, because him displacing the Ace of Hearts or the Ace of Diamonds, he has the Nine of Hearts in both of those.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Like, you see my face over here. I'm like, yeah. I'm going through his whole spread, and he's got the nine. He's got the nine of spades pushing him. He's got the nine of clubs is what, Venus, and then he's got the five of hearts is Mars, and then he's got a nine of hearts is Saturn. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What the eight, and then the eight of spades is going to be his Pluto card. So his health, his health. I mean, the one thing he got going for him is that four of spades is the reward card, but he'd have to make, his health is definitely all over this spread.
That's like something lingering, or you need to take care of something.
Right.
It's like leaky gut syndrome. You keep getting sick because
Leaky
of something.
brain syndrome. I'm sorry. That was so not a nice thing to say. I'm sorry.
But it's something that you need to take care of. It's not going to get better until you fix the basis of the condition, right? What's really irritating you. So yeah, it's definitely not always the four. It doesn't denote with something that you're gonna be automatically healthy if you've been taking
Right.
care of yourself. and there's nothing that's been affecting you, then yeah, you may be in good health. But if there's
That could
obviously
be
something
going to a nursing home too. Seriously.
from in the nursing home, get him out of here. He's done. Take him out.
Just tell him he's president. Tell him he's president. He'll be fine.
There.
Let him wear his suits and put a flag in his
President of the
robe.
nursing home.
Like I think everyone's in agreement that he's not the best candidate, but it's like we still don't know about this Trump guy because it's like we're kind of like in the middle of it. Like we know he's not the best. Yeah, just go ahead and get him out of here. He's done.
I think Diamond made a post today that said neither one of these fuckers. And it kind of, huh?
There's so much, again, in the women I listen to astrologically, they'll suggest that there won't be any more elections. Like that stuff's all going to change. Like that's the kind of depth of systems that I hear is in the air to come. So I wonder if it's true. But when I hear about these things, I'm like, oh boy, I wonder how this is all going to wrap itself up and we're going to be able to take lessons from it and not repeat it.
Well, you think about it again too. And I remember a great example that was given, I think it was in Aquarius's class a long time ago or somewhere. When Russia had their Pluto return, they used to be called the Soviet Union, right? Now they're a whole different name. So that you have to understand Pluto is going to bring some kind of death, some kind of destruction to allow something to be reborn. Hence why you're seeing the Ace of Spades in Pluto and that Ace of Hearts is a reward card. So you just connected with the energy. How that will show up in this country. It's sitting in the Six of Spades, y'all. It's got to happen. And just sit back and eat the popcorn. I don't know, like it's gonna happen. And actually, it's probably time. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean it has to be dooms and and maybe what they have shown us, because again, you really we create our world. So as long as we don't go to the doom, and that's the thing though. So they know these energies, and they know that we have coming up next week on a King of Clubs day, a very powerful conjunction with Uranus, with Mars, and a fixed star. I think it's Angle or Aggle, I think, which if you look into it,
yeah, that's the one that's. Go ahead.
No. But it's on it. Look, think about the card. That's a King of Clubs day that has what as that cosmic moon, a King of Spades. So it's very Scorpio moon energy to me, because I've always tracked this stuff in the moon, and usually you see that with like Scorpio energy. The King of Clubs shows up a lot of times. So it's a very intense transit. And so go ahead.
Just the 15th or 16th?
Yeah, the 15th. The 15th.
Okay, go ahead.
So like 26 degrees too, I think. So you probably can even get into it more when you know the degree theories. But I say that to say they're aware of that. They know what kind of energy that brings. Then there can be something that would line up to that energy, right? That then causes certain things to happen, But again, we have to be, if we're aware of the energy and we understand, you don't. Again, you choose differently, you respond differently. So. But it's on.
I'm glad you changed the they to we, because I always have response to that, and I try not to be my stubborn self. My neurosis gets increased when I listen to you tell me I'm going to be more bratty. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm going to be more bratty, and then I know this. So, but I do feel that it's we. How do we use the energy? Because the change is going to happen to everyone. It's an eternal change. Right. So how is each person going to respond to the changes? I'm in a 6th year. I'm in a very similar place as a human. But that means my life is going to have those types of shifts. And how am I going to pivot, and how am I going to land, and how am I going to respond and not resist? I mean, That's what the splitting did. Picking sides created conflict and resistance.
Divided you fall. So either you choose to unite or divide. And if you're aware, like if they know there's conflict energetically, wouldn't you then encourage conflict, because now you have people in a state of conflict?
Yeah,
and
and
now
they
they're
carry it. They carry it. They
right.
don't have clarity, so they don't have the impetus to live in a stand up. They're in question marks. They're not in
And
like
if you
straight
put
line.
people in a state of fear, now you're easily to be manipulated, to be
Easy.
controlled, to be told what to do. So it's, I mean,
And if you don't think you have any other way, then
right,
forget it, right? You just
right,
got it.
right.
Yeah,
So there's
and
going to
you
be
work.
new way.
No, no, I'm gonna say even you working in the medical field and the statement or just being having that experience, you see that I think chaos creates money. And so like why fix a system that is feeding itself, so if I can
Yep.
if chaos is paying me, why should I fix it? Just create more chaos.
Mm-hmm.
um so
Cause a problem, create a solution. You know what I mean? Fund the solution,
Yeah.
you make money.
And then the
no, but
dopamine, we've gotten dopamine in so many false ways, like with likes on Facebook and attention and stuff like that. Like dopamine's a natural byproduct of living in balance and harmony in your environment. Like you just have that naturally. You wake up with it when you wake up with the sun. Like you have these things in you. But we've decided to like regulate it with coffee or with TV or keeping busy with this or with sugar or whatever, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
in that fear state, you comply. And you comply to whatever's around you to soothe you, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily connecting you to the true nature of the way you're going to get the juice you need when the cards and the energy comes in. You're going to use it as long as you stay awake.
And that's why this was hidden. That's why they tell you, not going outside. Oh, don't get in the sun. You're gonna get sun cancer. Don't connect to Mother Earth by any means. God, don't trust, don't feel your intuition, right? Because if you know who you are and you trust, then you wouldn't be like that. Exactly why they
You're a
that
threat. I can tell
right.
you, as someone who's known who she is for most of the time I've been me, you're a threat to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's with her? What is she doing? It's like, I'm just looking for fair. Where's the sweet spots? Where's the middle?
Mm-hmm.
I just like fair.
Yep. So and again, it has to happen. It's gonna happen. Sitting in the house of a six of spades,
It is
you know,
happening.
with the ace of spades and Pluto. And that's
yeah.
not like it is just very it's very eighth house. It's very death and rebirth, which is just part of Pluto coming back home. It's what Pluto brings, right? But Pluto is something that you want to um, really understand, because it also brings it. There's power in it too. Like what Madeline was saying, like when you know who you are, you stand in that power. It is off-putting to people, because then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can't tell her nothing. I can't get her. You can't sway that. Like so.
Well, no,
Um,
it's kind of fun because I'm all about being swayed. There's a lot of very strong women where I work who've worked there for a really long time, and like they get really strong about their ideas about how things are. And like I've grown up a lot in that way. I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to hear your idea, but I don't feel like you're asking me to hear your idea. I feel like you're bullying me to think the way you think. So that's not going to work.
mm-hmm.
I'm happy to hear and understand all perspectives, and then I'll go to my intuition and I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah. Yep.
So don't try to sway me. And I have a persuasive tone myself. I'm really conscious of it. Like, one of the things you said to me in your weekly readings, I've been getting them from Gina to try it on louder. You said that like a salesman kind of thing. And gosh golly, I so don't like the idea of being a salesman. I have a resistance to that part of my energy, to using my persuasion or to like sell a car or kind of thing, or tell people, you got to check this out. Like I even have judgment when I hear others do it, so it's a real thing that when you say it, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to do that. But that's the thing. That's an aspect of me that I need to use as well, because you don't deny any of your strengths.
I think too, it's not even just about the selling, it's an attraction. It's a Prince of Wealth energy. So it's like, how do you attract abundance? How do you initiate a high, at the highest, it's about a higher set of values, but it is selling something. And I think the word sometimes selling has a negative energy to it, just because it is a side of like, I have to convince you to do something. But really, I think in the space of that energy, it is really about just kind of when you're bringing something that has this element of helping others and being a benefit to others. It's like being able to provide something without the commission breath. That's what I call it. Like there is a commission breath though that can come. Like it's like a desperation for this energy that it can have. But the other side of it is when your heart's in it and it's because it's an initiation. It's bringing a higher set of values. It really isn't selling. It's really being able to attract.
Yeah, and I think for the diamonds, King of Diamonds, when you have something that's valuable, you can't really look at it as selling. It's like I have this service and I'm trying to help you, trying to yourself or whatever it may be, So being, I think, doing door to door sales, someone tried to stop me and then kind of explain that to me, but at my young age of 26, I wasn't really getting it at that particular time because I just knocked on the door and I was like, what's your name, how you doing, what type of cable do you got? I have Charter Spectrum, and this is what which one do you want? It was like, yo, that is not the way that you're going to sell me this. Like, you didn't try to figure out like what's wrong with my service, how my day is going, But this guy named Rushton, like he's pretty dope. He really showed me how to not be a salesman and how to have a conversation and offer a person a service and try to help them with whatever they may have wrong or what's wrong with the house. And I actually seen my sales go up from that point on. Then I became top salesman in my, for my group because it wasn't about me selling you charter. It was like, how can I help you beat or get something better than what you already have, overcome a particular obstacle, of you getting the best service that you can possibly get, because there's always like those pain points we was talking about earlier. Is kind of how we started off. Even the Ace of Diamonds is marketing, knowing yourself, knowing the value of yourself, right? So when you know your value, you know what you have, you're not really selling anyone, you just bringing what you have, and you're that ish, right? It's like,
and that's my dad being in business, the Ace of Diamonds never put it, like never marketed, never did. He didn't have to. It was word of mouth. That's what kept my dad in business for so long, was word of mouth. Because when you find a good mechanic, when you find someone you can trust with your car, you're going to share that with everybody. So he never spent, he just got a Facebook page, and I don't ever think he even uses it he doesn't have to. He stays busy. You know what I mean? He's never had to do that. So that's a big part of that Ace of Diamonds energy. When you have something valuable, people, they'll come.
People, contacts, relationships. It has the Five of Hearts somewhere, right? It's not in
Venus.
Yeah.
Right?
So
yeah,
it's in Venus, and then they have a Five of Diamonds in Neptune. So traveling, being a gypsy in some sorts, is a part of their DNA. They have to get out, they have to travel, make contacts, make connections, and just have a different day, day in and day out than it was yesterday. They need variety in their life in some type of way. Saying the same old thing, having the same routine isn't really good for that energy. But yeah.
How old is Donald Trump?
Oh, he's like 70, 72. How old is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is 78 years old.
I'm off. 78.
Let me see his.
And he just had a birthday. He just turned 78 then, right? Yeah, because his birthday was your birthday.
Yeah, my birthday.
You share birthdays with the president? My God.
Right.
Professor, I tell you, so many parts.
Me, Donald Trump, either
Well, gosh darn, he's sitting in the 9 of spades, y'all. I don't know.
I know that what kind of makes it kind of, but 9 of spades for what's the name?
And the 9 of clubs is sitting on top of him. The 6, oh Lord, oh wow.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at his spread.
That's the first time I've looked at it.
Yeah, he has the 10 of hearts though, the 10 of spades, Queen of Hearts, 6 of Hearts. you know. Um, King of Clubs, as you say. So there could be some
It's
potential
Neptune.
for advantages. So he's definitely the authority, or seemingly the authority of his field, right? Which is politics, Uranus. So people are looking for him for some type of change or the
I
promotion
feel like
of.
it's very spiritual, very
Mhm.
spiritual. What's about to happen or whatever he's bringing in, the energy is very like multidimensional and spiritual, because the Nine of Spades is also a very spiritual card. The Nine of
Yeah,
Spades and
it's,
I are like very like tuned into that stuff, like frequency. And with the King of Hearts, magnetic energy, and then the Two of Hearts with the two there. I mean, like coming into some kind of peace in himself, and then the balance, and then coming out and for the mother and the women, working hard, coming into faith for community with new understandings with that eight. That's really interesting. I don't know. Like, I mean, I see it as a very spiritual something. I don't know how it's going to play out, but that's what comes to me, is that it's very back to the innocence, and almost like I have this idea of like him coming out of character and telling everybody what he was really doing or something, like almost like a undercover kind of cat, but we'll see. So that's
you
what comes up.
know, my whole purpose here was to really make America great again. Yeah. So it is completion, there's destiny, as Gina was saying earlier, the sixes and the nines is the recognition of destiny, completion of something, and it's like he definitely is approaching this as if he's on a mission, and he has a divine purpose to do this. I think is the way that he feels, especially at this particular time. So there is the spiritual essence of that nonsense. They definitely know that they have a distinctive purpose, and not just um, just not here to do anything. Um, so yeah. Thing with the Six of Hearts, Ten of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, as far as like the women relationships, there may need to be some apologizing. That's just me looking at the King of Hearts, the Six of Hearts, because he made statements. If I was his advisor or a spiritual advisor, hey, you've made statements, or there's something that's speaking towards women that you may have to go back to, or a woman. Even if I was just reading his spread, I'd be like, maybe a woman in your life, or you're paying the karma for something that took place, and maybe if it's not even just um, a woman that you did something to, maybe someone in the past just coming back, as well. So, but yeah, those is seven of spades, ten of spades, and Uranus.
His health too,
Yeah, his
you know.
health as well.
Hmm. His health as well. Um,
Doctor, advice.
it's fascinating, because I looked at where's the Jack of Diamonds on this plate, where's the Two of Clubs on this plate, where's the King. He transforms into the King of Hearts.
Hmm.
So it's just really interesting. And then the queens that he has is a queen in Jupiter, a queen as the result card. The Two of Clubs is displacing the Queen of Clubs. So a lot around women. Definitely a lot of focus around the women, and you know, either they'll support him or they, but it probably be more about the women that dictate what
If it
happens.
is,
Hmm?
yeah, I say yeah. Women will
Hmm.
probably foreshadow if he wins or not. I can see
And
that.
then isn't the Queen of, I think the Queen of Diamonds is sitting in Jupiter on the United States plate as well. So there's very much a strong push around the feminine energy here, for sure. And you've even heard that. You see that the rise of the feminine, a lot more attention on the whole women in the basketball, women, men, even the whole sports situation, and men wanting to infiltrate the women's sports or whatever the case may be. Like you're seeing a lot of big talk around women and the feminine energy, and it is kind of the rise of that energy. So there's definite, he's got it a lot in his spread.
Hmm. Yeah, even at the time of the elections. So the last elections was 4 years ago. So 2020
Hmm.
was at the election.
Yeah, the United States was sitting in the six of clubs. Oh, you're looking at his spread? Yeah.
No, I'm going back to the United States spread at that particular time because we was looking at 68, so it'd be
Yeah, so
64.
64 and the United States was sitting in the house of the six of clubs. So it's
So,
very similar to 2020.
yeah, and I was gonna say there was something with women then too, because so the Queen of Hearts was
Wasn't
in
that the Me
Mercury.
Too thing? Or was that before then? I'm not sure about the dates, but there was a lot of focus on the whole Me Too. And then he also had a whole the thing with women and what he said about grabbing and you know.
Yeah, that started in 2019. The Me Too thing started around 2019, I think, with the Three of Hearts. Then 2020 was going into the Four of Hearts, more like family, and was part of the theme.
Yeah, being stuck at home.
But yeah, the Me Too started 2019.
So it's with the United States being July, so half of that, you know what I mean, is
No,
part of
yeah,
that year as well. Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, for sure, for sure. So that would be going kind of towards 63.
Queen sitting in trans Pluto.
Queen of Diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's going to be sitting Jupiter. So kind of comes full circle, right?
Mhm. So yeah, there was at that particular time I was speaking about maybe a woman coming into power or something, but I was like, if one of them is going to get the running mate of a woman, I didn't know it was Kamala at that particular time. There was a lot of options, um, so it was a lot of women that was going as possible running mate, and the first woman VP at that particular time was a part of the story. So I was just seeing where the queen was for the United States, but
No, it
I
makes
would say
sense.
yeah, I would say if he wins, it will set up and that 12 clubs and Mercury won the battle. It ultimately won. The Queen of Hearts at that particular time was there, and now she's displacing the Queen of Hearts. You see how that kind of play out, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. We shall see. We'll take a look at this again and see the climate, I guess. But next week is the Two of Diamonds week. I actually just had a Two of Diamonds call me. Her name is Ifia Gaza, one of my favorite mentors. And I was just thinking, had my little six of clubs, six of spades moment, like, what would I have done if I went back? She actually used to run a radio station, a political scientist, lawyer, leader, activist. She worked with SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee out of Atlanta, who also advised Martin Luther King during his days as well. She always says that us young people have no idea what we're doing because at their ages, 18 to 25, they were civil rights activists
Yeah.
and looking to lead organizations that brought free lunch to the public school system. So I do have to always humble myself just in general, but really have to look at it like, I definitely see that, I definitely understand. But yeah, she's a two of diamonds. So they can, as you know, they can be very stubborn, but overall, children, kids, they have a very softer side with the Ace of Hearts that you will see once you get to kind of fight through their stubborn side, right? But yeah, Two of Diamonds is about partnerships, right? So she's always had partnerships of people to come help her. She also ran a nonprofit radio station with the Malcolm X grassroots movement as well, which was uh, grassroots movement, and it was funded by the local community. But we always know that sometimes the local community do not preserve our history and the things that we should put our money towards in our community sometimes. So that's what kind of happened there. But she's, like I said, was a great mentor. I didn't think I'll be talking live broadcasting anywhere, but here I am, right? That's why I said it's kind of full circle, right? Kind of interesting where we have come. But yeah.
That's my Pluto card next week. So, and it is a very strong card of relationships, and you know, um, there's a lot of power in that card, I find. And so with the Two of Diamonds, it being able to kind of compromise and watch the arguing, because those twos have, sometimes there's a lot of conversation that can happen, and is the conversation coming from a space of love, or is it coming from a space of fear, right? Two of Diamonds is a very creative card, though. Very, very creative. They're very creative with their words, because they have our Jack of Spades. It's a Mercury card. And that they are trying to make a deal. Like, it's fun. And you find a lot of times they have some, usually attorneys are really good at that, arguing or getting that point across, or, it's being expressive, maybe that sometimes comes off as being arguing. It's very passionate energy too, I think, that they have inside of them. And, but it is a very good card of, relationships of value. And I was coming across a astrology page, and I briefly was looking at it, and it even said that this is a week of relationships, and it would make sense that it would be a two of diamonds, a two energy, which is all about the relationship. So that is what the twos represent, is one and the other. So your relationships have value, what kind of value, and it's all about also not losing your value, in these relationships either. I think that's a big part of that too. Energy is, having value outside. Like, that relationship doesn't equal to your value, right? I think that's key with that energy.
Yeah, the Ace of Diamonds and the Two of Diamonds have a very common relationship with each other, right? So they definitely feed off each other. So we've kind of spent this broadcast speaking about, knowing yourself, knowing who you are, expressing your personal value and standing on that, what they call standing on business these days, right? So within your partnerships and contracts, and also with the Ace of Diamonds, it says don't sign your life away, right? But you see here, you have a partnership, you have two people, you have people working together, but it's just how do you do that, and making sure two people come to agreements. Because I'm not saying that you shouldn't work with people, it's just saying that two people come to a mutual agreement, and one doesn't overthrow the other, or there's no one person dominating. It has to be cooperation. With the Two of Clubs, that's compromise. Two of Diamonds, that's compromise and an agreement with the Six of Clubs. So the Ace of Diamonds, Two of Diamonds, both work in tandem. The show broadcast Ace of Diamonds' desire for love or money. So we kind of spoke about it. We seen Two of Diamonds with love, So we got to see the Two of Diamonds have best of both worlds, but definitely had the Queen of Diamond and the Queen of Spades around to help out, right? So definitely had some won't say power struggles, but some balance in there for the Ace of Diamonds. Shoot that Two of Diamonds in there down their throat a little bit. um, so forcibly, like who's gonna do a partnership or not, right? So all right, well, we'll see you all next week. Gina, is there any webinars or anything as far as the family card table? Is Friday speaking more towards the family alchemy and going deep dive into the family connections that you may have, if you want to go into more personal relationships and discover about people that's kind of close to you, and what's taking place in that particular setting.
Yeah, we
And what
also
is
evolutionary astrologer Rob is with us as well on Friday, so he brings in some of that perspective, as Gina often does as well. And yes, Fridays at 5, and it's just another compliment, but a deeper dive. And there's also packages for you to consider on the Family Card Table website, where we invite you to kind of go through a process to get some insight to yourself and to learn about the way you might work and how you might want to play your card to mature at these times.
Yeah, it's a really good, we're diving more into like the composites of your family, and really like looking at the patterns that we may see and the cards that travel together. It's fun. I just did a webinar today on our cosmic lesson card. That was really dope. My next webinar is the 20th of July on relationships and composite cards, actually. And that we'll be diving into for then. But other than that, that's what we got. The family card table is something we've been working really hard at. And we're on Fridays at 5 with that one on this same, like on YouTube. It's at the Family Card Table YouTube channel, right? Garisha, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
then looks great. Thanks, Rashad. This was wonderful. And have fun with those cards. It looks like you're in a nice upswing there with getting some good energy with that King of Hearts and all those things around. Like, I hope that all the businesses and all the things keep coming together the way they need to for us to be strong.
Yeah, I know. It definitely looks like the energy is working out. So,
Rashad's gonna be a daddy.
Chill. No. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Just between us, I have thought about donating my. I thought about donating my life force.
You have a great smile. I'm sure somebody would pick that smile for their kid.
Oh, that'd be that's I definitely thought about it. I was like, is it time? I might as well. I don't have anyone. I am a type of person, like, it takes at least, like, for me to trust you. Like I said, I have trust issues. That's why I was like, I don't know, like, not at this point. Maybe 3-4 years after I get to know you. You know, people like love at first sight. Not no baby at first sight. That's not gonna happen. so to give me 3 to 4 years. So because I don't want to hold nobody up, I might as well go and donate my life force. And then if nothing happens with nobody,
my life force. DMLF. Join Rashad. Let's donate our life force.
Then if I don't get in a relationship, then I can't be like, dang, I didn't have kids. I'm having kids at 40. Like, I don't.
Oh my god!
So if you donate,
Rashad,
he's gonna be running around looking for one that looks like you, or like, are you just gonna donate it randomly? Like, how is that gonna work?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if I have much control.
Oh my god!
Not to be biased, but, I do have preferences, but like I would love for my kid to be a little athletic, a little bit. So like a taller woman, maybe like. So I don't know. So I know I can't be that picky though. Like,
listen, no, you can be, because my ace of spades. Oh, you must be this tall. You must be this built. Like, I ain't having no shrinky. Like, no. My kids are gonna be. I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny to listen to. But maybe Rashad, that 9 of clubs in Venus is really telling you to let go of your limiting thoughts around your relationships. And you keep saying, I have no, like, you got to watch the words that you say about the relationships, right? With that 9 of clubs, release those negative and, I got trust issues. Stop saying that stuff.
I know. I am crazy. I was going to say I'm broke. I'm not like super broke, but I definitely have money. I was looking at how much money I spent, like, on a month-to-month basis, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy! Like, this is wild. I can definitely afford a female friend if I really want to. Like, I really do afford other company, so I can't say I can definitely afford a long-term company, but it's definitely." I don't know time, yo. I just don't want to rush into nothing. That's all it is.
I'm saying, obviously not every single person, every single man that sits in the house of the King of Hearts is going to be, popping out babies. But you have a Queen of Hearts, you have an 8 of Hearts. I mean, you definitely have, and you're sitting in the house of the Queen. Where's the Ace of Hearts? Oh, okay. If that was in your spread, then I'd be you might want to be careful.
It's not close.
But you have the definite potential. Like, I think this year is a really good year for you to work on that relationship energy, that emotional maturity, that big, you got to have that confidence, that big Rico Suave energy that King of Hearts wears and walks with, and just so much emotional.
That gets me in trouble. When I'm feeling like Rico Suave, it definitely happens. It never fails. I'm not denying that the fact that it can happen. Like I'm trying to avoid that. Like I'm not. It's not saying that I can't. I know I can, but just not right now. I just need to focus. Like I definitely can. Once I know, if I go outside and be like, yo, or if I see something like, yo, yeah, I definitely want to like try my my finesse. It definitely happens, but it's not good at this particular time. It's not sustainable. We want sustainable relationships. It's not like I got 5 of spades. I'm not stable. I'm not stable. It's not what you want, Shawty. We're not stable right now. Then I transfer into an ace of spades. I don't know who I'm gonna be next year. Like I don't know. I don't know who I'm gonna be next year. So it could be a good thing though. It could definitely be a great thing.
Oh my
It could
God.
definitely be a great thing. But it's gonna be a roller coaster ride. I'll tell you that. It's gonna get rocky. Yeah,
No, it's gonna be fun. What are you talking about? That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely be fun. It's always fun. It's definitely
You
fun.
have the Eight of Hearts in Jupiter, buddy. Like you said, all you gotta do is walk out the door and watch them all.
Gina, and then next year, the sounds.
Where are you?
Year, I have the Ace of Hearts with the Four of Hearts. Just started.
Oh my God!
Next year.
I want to say it right now on this video. Next year,
I would have
donated. Little baby, he'll be sitting there holding his little one next year at this time. He'll be like, I can't believe this is what happened. I remember that time we talked about it.
My donation has spawned 4 families. Hopefully, I've helped.
I've helped for.
Diane not making no better. She said her King of Hearts had a village of children.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I might have my village, working on my village. I have the Ace of the Village. Tell my village, Ace of Hearts, Four of Hearts. Definitely having a village of children.
And the Mercury card's the Four of Hearts. Yeah, buddy. What else you got?
All right, I'm gonna cut out, guys.
All right.
I'm sorry, I have to cut out, but you keep going if you're feeling it. I just have to.
No, we need to cut. I was trying to end it, so I talked about my.
Oh, it's very fun.
I'm a crate this year.
Well, enjoy the Two of Diamonds week.
Rashad's dropping seeds. See if you're the lucky winner.
Mm-hmm.
And they are amazing. And they are amazing fathers. King of Hearts is definitely the protector, the father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are good fathers. They really are.
I will make a great dad this year.
Well, you got one good year you can give him.
That's it. Because next year I'm be a changed man.
Oh my God. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the Two of Diamonds week. Oh my goodness, that was fun.
Good times. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Thanks for everyone for coming. See you next week.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.